And the recording is on.
Okay. Let me give you a screenshot of some problems. We've already had some of you do the count by seven thing. All right. Let's start with Vladislava. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, but I can turn on my camera. I have a problem with my internet.
Well,
right now.
that's okay. As long as we can talk. Can you see my screen? You can't see my screen, can you?
Yes. Yes,
So,
I see.
okay. That first problem says count by sevens up to 100. Do you think you can count by sevens for me?
It's like 7, 14, yeah.
Yep, keep going.
7, 14, 21, 28, 20, 30, 35, yes. 42, 49, 40, 56, 50, 63, 70, 77, 84, 80, 91, 98.
And that's good enough. Okay. Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay. It's a number that's harder to count like that. It is about knowing multiplication tables that makes it easier. It's relatively simple mathematics, but it's mathematics that we have made a point about in the past to say it's the simple stuff that often gets in the way when we're trying to do higher level mathematics. All right. Can someone tell me, any one of you, can you tell me on that second problem, what's the absolute smallest number there?
The 0, it's the smallest number, or like tilts towards -3/4.
So 0 is not the smallest, is it?
0, it's like starting, but if you go into the negative numbers, it's -3/4. It's like
Is minus isn't, and I'm going to be careful about that. I'm going to say -3/4, but I don't think -3/4 is the smallest.
I mean, negative
oh yeah,
one.
-1.
-1 is the smallest number there. I'm going to make a point here. If you use the word minus, you're doing a subtraction problem. 5 minus 3 is 2. If you're just referring to a number and its value less than 0, it's negative. The two words are different mathematically. Now, people don't make that distinction in the everyday world. So those numbers, -3/4 could be read as -3/4, -1 could be read as -1, but mathematically that's not correct. And that you should be referring to any number that's less than 0 as negative. And the only time you should use the word minus is if you're actually doing a subtraction problem. What's the largest number there?
100. Yes. Oh, no. No.
Number pi.
I don't see a 5 anywhere.
She said pi.
Oh, pi.
Pi.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pi.
See, there.
Pi.
There's another issue, another difference, and this is about English, right?
Just maybe I have slow internet now.
Yay!
And,
Welcome. So the point is that when you refer to what I refer to as pi, you often refer to as like p. And again, it's slightly different sound. And that's okay, as long as we can communicate about that. Can someone tell me roughly what pi is equal to?
3.141592.
That's good enough. Okay, that's plenty digits. So yes, it's 3 and a little more. It's larger than any other value there, and therefore it is the largest value. Why do we use pi? And down the line you see e. Why don't we just write out the number?
Because they're irrational. It's like
They're-
infinite numbers after the point.
Yes, infinite set of digits. They're irrational. And they show up frequently enough that we've given them a specific designation, pi and e. Okay. The first number in that list, what value does that have?
2.
2, right? Cube root of 8. Okay. The last number in that list, what value does that have?
Feels like something. We had to go like 1 minus 1 between 2 is 1.5. It's like square root of 3.
Is that the square root of 3?
I very how to say
If there were
skeptical
no
about this.
if there were no negative sign out in front of the -1/2, that would be the square root of 3. But there's that negative sign. What does that do?
It's 1 divided by
Yeah.
root of square of
Yep,
3.
thank you. Exactly. The negative sign flips it 1 over the square root of 3, which again, typically we don't like radicals because that's what a square root is. We don't like radicals in a denominator. So we may multiply that through numerator and denominator by the square root of 3 and get square root of 3 over 3, which is the same thing. So that's probably the problem that's the number that's most difficult to evaluate here. And if you understand what you're doing in terms of just plain arithmetic, then you should be able to read that number and evaluate it yourself. There are two things that I try to emphasize here. One, these are where the mistakes are made when it comes to higher level mathematics. And two, that you should be able to do this math, at least so far, in your head, not so much trying to write it down. Because when you get to higher level mathematics, this simple stuff is stuff that is just secondary, meaning it's not what you're trying to solve. It's what you have to have in order to solve a much bigger problem. And if you can't do that in your head, it makes the higher level mathematics more difficult. Problem number 3. Are those two things equal?
No,
Why not?
because in we do multiplication first, like 5 multiplication on 6, and in second option we do subtraction first.
Thank you. That's the answer to that problem. Okay. Priority of operations, depending on how things are organized, right? Fourth problem. Fill in the blank. What should I have there?
We can just go with the same number but minus 2 power minus 1. So it will be like reversed. Is
That's
everything allowed?
that's pretty cool. I like it. See, that's not what I expected as an answer, but that is a correct answer. Okay. And that brings out another point about simple mathematics, that sometimes the way in which you express the answer isn't always the same. I would have expressed this answer as -3/2. -3/2 being multiplied by -2/3 produces 1. But you express this answer as -2/3 raised to the -1st power. And that's perfectly correct. And so I like that you did that. And often again in my mathematics classes, when they're taking a test particularly, I'll get answers that I look at it and I don't recognize what they've done. But if I read it, I discover they're correct. I just didn't do it that way. And that makes it fun to teach mathematics. When you see someone solving a problem, that's not the way that you would do it. There's more than one way to take care of it. What about 5?
It will be a negative 7.285711429.
You've got it, okay? Negative 7.285714, 285714, 285714. Turns out to be a repeating decimal after 6 digits. And so as a consequence, you can't give me the exact answer. You could possibly tell me that it is negative 7 3/7 as a fraction, if you want to do that. More than one way to answer the problem, right? And you have to be able to assess whether or not that's correct. What about 6?
It will be 12.
12. What about 7?
2.
2. Okay. What about 8?
1.2.
1.2. All right. What about 9?
Negative 16? No, not negative 24. 26, sorry.
Negative 26. Exactly.
Yeah.
You see how easy it is to make a mistake on which I know you can do.
9. Just 9.
Oh, number 10. Is it just 9?
Yeah.
Is it just 9?
I disagree. It not
It feels
exist.
like we
Go
can
ahead.
go,
Who disagrees?
we can go imaginary numbers because we have a negative, and we don't have like those.
No parentheses.
So then I can tell is this minus 9 minus go with the 9 to the square.
That's
So
what
it,
makes 10 controversial.
but
If we're
usually
taking,
we say it goes and we cancel out minuses, so it's not negative anymore.
yeah, and again, that becomes the question. Do we attach the negative sign to 9 first? Because if we do, negative 9 squared is 81, and the square root of 81 is just 9. But if we do not, 9 squared becomes 81. We're trying to take the square root of negative 81, and that becomes an imaginary number. The way in which this is written is ambiguous. We, when it comes to priority of operations, do most times understand to attach negatives to where they belong first. But in this case, I would rather see parentheses around the negative 9. So parens around the negative 9 before I square, just to make it clear as to what the answer to this problem is. What about 11?
29.
You're quicker than I am. Let's see. 4, 12, negative 6, 4. Negative 24. Yeah, 29, right? Yeah, that all works out. That's good. What about 12? Good question, huh?
near 5, maybe.
I get,
It feels like we
No,
can
it's not a whole number.
it is not a whole number. It is not,
we
Maybe-
can just take.
go ahead, who was going to say something?
I feel like we can just go and divide 144 by 8, so we can make this equation by 8 multiplied by, I forgot this number, so it's like 1, 64, 64 is should be an 8, so it's like the 8 multiplied by 8, no, it's wrong.
You're doing the math that I would do as well.
8 by 18, so it go and be like 2 multiplied by 18 powered by 1/3.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Feels like, but
Look.
I may be wrong.
I'm going to give you a way that, well, no, I'll go with Alexander. I'll go by his solution. That is, he realized that 8 goes into 144 18 times. 8 times 18 is 144. Yeah, that works. All right. And so I can break those numbers up. Cube root of 8 times the cube root of 18. The cube root of 8 is 2. And so now I have 2 times the cube root of 18. Can I do anything with the cube root of 18? No, I don't know what that is. It's probably an irrational value. So it becomes much harder to evaluate. But you can break it down to a simpler description by rewriting it as 2 times the cube root of 18. And if we wanted to write the cube root of 18 as 18 to the 1/3 power, we could do that as well. Higher level mathematics there, at higher level arithmetic there. I wouldn't say higher level mathematics. What about 13?
1/16.
1/16. Any idea what 1/16 is as a decimal?
It's like 0.06 and something like that.
Yeah, 0.0625. All right. It is, again, those fractions that are powers of 2. 1/2, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16. All right, powers of 1/2, I should say. All right, 1/32. Those numbers, again, they end up popping up often enough that if you're doing mathematics, they generally end up in your head. And so this one does end up at least in my head. What about 14?
1.5.
Yeah, 1.5. 1/2 is 3/2, which is 1.5. What about 15?
Negative
Go ahead.
Negative number pi.
Yeah, negative pi. All right. What about 16?
1 over
pi minus
1
1.
over pi. All right. We call that a reciprocal. All right. Or a multiplicative inverse. I don't know if those terms are terms you're used to or not, but that's what we have there. What about 17?
It's like 20 over 9.
Negative
Tell me again.
So 20 over 9.
20 over 9.
Negative 9.
Negative, yes. Okay, so it's a
I
negative
forgot about-
answer. But it becomes negative 20 over 9, or 2 and 2, negative 2 and 2/9. Okay, yeah. Look, we just are harping on all the rules of simple add, subtract, multiply, divide, and raising a number to a power or taking its square root. We just the mathematical stuff that you have to be able to do to solve higher level problems. And you can see they're not necessarily so simple, and sometimes they're ambiguous. What about 18?
1024.
1024. People that work in the computer world generally should be able to answer that pretty quickly. because we deal with powers of 2 a great deal, at least in terms of the actual calculations that are taking place in a computer. Okay. What about number 19?
Still 1024.
Same thing, 1024 got a negative exponent, right? And I won't bother to do 20 as far as which ones are irrational. We had a few of them in there. All right. So much for the math. I'm going to pronounce your name. Your names will pop up at times. But I'm going to go through the list of people that eventually signed up for this course. And again, we've been skipping over this, skipping over the fact that I'm working on you being able to speak English, but I also want to have you work on me being able to speak at least with the right accent Ukrainian or the right phrasing Ukrainian. For example, and I've tried this once before, and Dora, I'm going to pick on you. The town that you are from, if I'm not mistaken, is Kropyvnytsky. Is that even close?
Close. Kropyvnytsky.
Kropyvnytsky.
Oh, it's good.
Okay, Kropyvnytsky. So obviously, pronunciation, something that I need to work on. So here are the words, here are the names, first names. Trying to do last names is a different issue, but first names of people that signed up for this course. It may not be your name, but as you hear it, if one of you thinks that I'm mispronouncing it, then I want you to straighten me up. Tell me what you think it should be. I have Sophia, Dora, or Dornya. Dornya, is that correct? Dornya?
Just I have a hard name for you. Darina.
Darn, darn,
E.
darn. Oh, it's that Y there.
Dar.
Darn, Darn,
Maybe. Just short name Dora, but no, Darina. It's difficult for you.
It's that right in there. Darina,
Oh,
Darina,
it's perfect. Excellent.
Darina.
Yes,
Okay, good. It's that
it's
tongue.
really perfect.
It's that tongue that gets in the way. Then I have Sophia, which prefers Yana. Oksana, Olana. That sound right? Um, uh, Oleksandr. No R. Don't pronounce the A. Don't get the A.
You know,
Oleksandr.
like people in America know about Alexander the Great. It's like the Rome generalist, if I'm not
Alexandra.
mistaken.
So Oleksandr. Yeah, but that has the A on
But you,
it.
Alexander, as always, you prefer that name. You go with hard consonants. So it's like O, L, K, S, A, N, D, R.
Oleksandr.
Yeah, it's sometimes you go Alexander, and you
Let's
can like soften the last sound.
soften the sounds. All right.
Because the three, it's a lot for your tongue and to pronounce it at all very fast. So you go like, I'm usually forgot how my name writes because I like sometimes forgot about R, D, and so on. So like Alexander.
Does anyone give you a nickname?
Nickname, I have like my nickname is Sanses. So it's like sometimes, but everyone call me or Sanya
Oh,
and something like that. So it's like
okay.
very useful for you.
That's one I'll have to keep working on. All right.
My
I have a
short name have a lot of variation, so it's like you can guess and maybe you'll write. So
I'll keep guessing.
okay, fine.
All right. I have Arima, Vladimir, Maria, Pavlo, I don't know if that's pronounced correctly, Andrei, Maxime, Veronica, Dimitro, Mikola, uh, Serhii, Katerina, and that's pretty much the different names that I see on this list. Did I mess any of those other ones up, or are they okay?
My name was okay, Sophia, but I prefer to call Sonia, not Yana, Sonia.
Sonia,
Yes.
okay. You actually, Sophia, I just called you Sophia, but I actually wrote that down the last time and I just kind of skipped right through it. So Sonia, you prefer that. Can
Yeah.
I ask why?
I just don't like my
You don't like your name.
yeah, I don't like my full name, and I used to when people called me Sonia.
Okay. It's funny. I have a pair of Ukrainian guests here, Natalia and Yana. But when I looked for nameplates that I wanted to put on the table, I couldn't find a nameplate for Yana, but I did find one that said Sophia. So I always tease her and call her Sophia. It was the closest name I could come to her name being at least alphabetically close. So I use that term all the time, but we'll call you Sonia. Okay. Tell me, let's kind of start with let's start with this. Words, 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 words. Up on the screen right now is a list of words that are commonly found in the SATs. The SATs are tests that students need to take to get into a university. And the higher the score, obviously, the more likely that they will get in. And these are common English words that are found on that test. So let's see if I can start. Is there anyone? Let's go ahead and start with Sonia. I want you to just read the words for me for the letters A and B. You don't need to do the definition. Just can you read those words for me?
Okay. So the first one is abandon. The second one is abate, if I'm correct.
You
I
are
don't know.
correct.
The third one is abet.
Just a bet.
Abet. Okay. Fourth, acid.
Mm-hmm.
Five, anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
Six, apex or apex. I don't know.
In that case, apex.
Apex. Okay. Seven, berate. Eight, bias. Nine, bovine. I first
That's
time see this
correct.
word.
You're good.
Uh, so 10, braggart,
Mm-hmm.
and 11th, burnish.
And while I talk, all of you can look at those definitions and see if you have any questions about them. But let's talk about apex versus a bet. Usually, when you have a vowel followed by a consonant followed by another vowel, that first vowel is long. And that happens down here in apex. The A is long. But up here in number 3, a bet, it doesn't happen. The A is short. Okay, instead of A. Why does it not happen? I don't know. That's just the English language. We just eventually pronounce the word frequently enough that we're able to know the correct pronunciation. Otherwise, your pronunciations were pretty good. Another example down here, berate. The A is long because there's a vowel followed by a consonant followed by another vowel. So it becomes berate. And yet the E is short. Vowel, consonant, vowel. But no, I guess the E is long. Berate. Yeah, it's long. So we're okay there too. So the rules aren't always consistent in the United States. And we just get used to pronouncing things correctly, supposedly. But they are, can I say, ambiguous at times. So let's scroll this down a bit, get rid of the B's. And let's just go down through the E's. So let's just go this far. Maxime, can you pronounce those words?
Okay, I will try. So, the valve is cache.
Yes,
13 cacophony.
cacophony, yes.
Cacophony. 14 catalyst.
Catalyst.
Catalyst. Okay. 15 cancerose.
You bring up, let's stop there for a second. You bring up a good point. The letter C can often sound like a K in the English language, or it can be soft as well. This is a
Cancer.
soft C,
C.
censorious, all right?
Sensor.
Censorious. Censor is to
Oh, a sensor.
stop,
Okay.
yeah, you know what censor is. This is just an adjective to be censorious. So it's a soft C as opposed to a hard C like cache, cacophony, and catalyst. Go ahead.
Okay. The next it's deers.
Dearth.
Dearth. Okay. Damages. Damage.
Yeah, hard one, very hard one to do, actually. Demagogue.
Demagogue. Oh,
Demagogue.
okay. The next 18 demur. Oh,
Demure.
demur. 19 disdain.
Mm-hmm.
Disdain. Oh,
Disdain.
disdain. Okay. 20 is dispassionate.
Pretty good. Dispassionate.
Okay. 21 effluvium.
Effluvium. Yep. Effluvium.
Effluvium. 22 emulate.
Emulate.
Emulate. 23 epochal.
Epochal. Yep.
And the last is expound.
Expound. The issues here frequently are, is it a long vowel or a short vowel? All right. Oh goodness. And the C issue too. Is it a soft C or a hard C? Those are the two things that seem to be stumbling blocks when it comes to pronouncing these words. Demagogue. You know, all those vowels in 17, demagogue, are short. Even though we've got a vowel followed by a consonant followed by another vowel. I don't know what rule to apply there to tell you why it's that way. All I can tell you is that's the correct pronunciation. On the other hand, when we get down to 18, demure, the E is long, all right? Don't emphasize it too much, but it's a long E. Long vowels, short vowels, soft C, hard C. Those are the things that seem to make it more difficult to pronounce these words. Let's see. Who do we have in terms of visual? We did Sophia, Maxime. Dora, can you pronounce these words?
Yes. Ferocity,
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 uh-huh.
flourish,
Flourish,
Frankly,
Mm-hmm.
fundamental,
Mm-hmm.
galvanize,
Mm-hmm.
geri- um, geriatry,
Yeah, the tough one. Geriatric. Geriatric.
geriatric,
Mm-hmm.
and hedonist,
Mm-hmm.
and hubris,
Hubris.
hubris,
Hubris.
impart,
Impart.
um, impartiality,
Impartiality.
impartiality, importunate.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that impartiality. There's again that RT sound comes together almost like it's an SH sound. Impartiality. Um, there are there's a thing called a diphthong where two valves pressed together take on a sound of that is neither one valve or the other. I don't know that there were any geriatric. No, geriatric, for example. You've got an I and an A together, but that's not a diphthong because the letters are pronounced. Geriatric. All right. So I'm not sure if there are any in here. Go ahead.
Geriatric.
Geriatric.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. 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 I'm not, again, since I'm not an English teacher, I'm not sure how to explain to you why it's pronounced that way. I can just tell you that's the way it's pronounced. And it's something that you just have to, it's what makes English harder than most. All right. That there are rules, but the rules don't always apply. All right. How about Vladislav? I'm going to go through another set of words. Do I still have you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Right. Hold on. Let's see how long I want to make this. Yeah, let's just go that far.
Imposition,
Imposition.
indifference,
Mm-hmm.
innovate,
Innovate.
innovative, uh, jocular,
Jocular.
jocular, jubilation, kismet, lament,
Mm-hmm.
locomotion, mali
Malicious.
malicious, materialistic, mawkish, melodramatic, modest.
That's pretty good. All right. Um, yeah, that malicious gets to be a little tough. All right. The ICIOUS. Again, it has kind of an SH sound to it. Malicious. All right. Speaking of which, um, can you tell me what the letters are, the N and the ADJ? What are they? Vladislava, do you know? What's the N stand for?
It's like, no, I don't know.
Good question. Can anybody tell me?
This is like adjective and N for a noun and
Thank
V
you.
for a
Yeah,
verb.
N for noun. All right, an object. A for adjective, or ADJ for adjective, that modifies that noun, that changes or adds to its meaning. All right. You've got nouns, which are objects. You've got verbs, which are actions. You've got adjectives that modify nouns. You've got adverbs that modify verbs. That's part, again, of the English language. Is there anybody I haven't picked on that can actually speak? Let's go back to Maxime. Can you handle these?
Yeah. Okay, let's start. So 49 it's novel. 50 null. 51 onset. 52 alpine. 53 oust.
Good.
54 pandemic.
Mhm.
55 paramount. 56 patrician. 57 polyglot.
Mhm.
58 prestidigitation.
Wow, awesome. Good.
59 provocative.
Provocative. Provocative.
Provocative. 60 quantitative. Quantitative.
Quantitative. Yeah, I can't even do it. Quantitative.
Quantitative. Okay.
Mhm.
61 quirk.
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 Yeah. Yeah. You wonder where the I gets lost. And maybe that's a good example of a diphthong. The the UI. I don't know where the I goes, but it's quirk. It's almost as if the I's not there. Okay. That's probably a good example of what they call a diphthong in the English language. Um, what was the other one I wanted to bring up? Quantitative, provocative. Oh, prestidigitation. The more syllables you get, the harder it is to pronounce. Trying to decide where to put the emphasis, because there are certain syllables, obviously, that get emphasized. That also becomes a question mark as far as what you do when it comes to the English language. Okay. I think we have just one more set to go. Maybe, yeah, I think that's it. So let's go back
Alexander
to,
Kukla, I think he
pardon?
didn't speak today.
Who?
Alexander Kukla Alexander Kukla.
Is he
Oh, he
there? Because
disappeared.
I don't see him.
He disappeared. He was present and then he decided to quit. Yeah, so
Okay.
sorry.
All right,
Mhm.
let's go back to Dora. Dora, can you do this one?
Rancor, refute,
Refute.
resilient,
Mm-hmm.
revile,
Re okay, yes.
rife,
Mm-hmm.
um, sanctimonious,
Here we go. Sanctimonious.
okay, scrupulous,
Scrupulous.
scrupulous, sedition, sinecure, um, sybarite, sybarite,
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Go ahead.
okay, tactful,
Tactful. Sybarite. Cyberite? That's a good question. Maybe cyberite? And that brings up an example. I don't think I've ever in my life seen the word cyberite.
sybarite.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that word in my life. But that doesn't mean that it's not part of the SAT test, or at least one of the words that was tested there. Okay. I don't know if I can do this. Can I do this? I should be able to go down here. Oh, there are a few more words. Let me go down to the few more words. Oh, wow. A lot more. Well, we won't try and do them all. Okay. In fact, I'll do them. Taut, temperament, tentative, transparent, tremendous, trounce, ubiquitous, unadorned, undermine, underscore, undulate, unilateral, unjust, unmitigate, unprecedented, unveil, urge, usury, validate, vital, vow, warrant, winsome, rye, xenophobe, yeoman, yield, yow, zenith. All right. Look, the stumbling points are, is it a long vowel or a short vowel? The stumbling points are, is it a soft sound or a hard sound? And there are a few other things involved. There are rules. How many letters in the alphabet here in English?
26.
Yeah. How many one-letter words could we possibly have?
Honestly, unlimited because we don't have limit for how many letters we have in one word. So it's like unlimited. One word can consist of infinite number of letters. You
No,
just
not one word. How many one-letter words could I possibly have?
about this 26. If it's
26, right? Not that they would make any sense, but it's possible for me to have 26 one-letter words. How many two-letter words could I possibly have?
26 power to 26
Yeah.
power to 2, or it depends if you it's like 26 power to
Yep,
power.
exactly. Even though, again, maybe they don't make sense, but it is possible to have 26 squared two-letter words. Okay? And we could go on from there. If we were going to deal with three-letter words, then I could have 26 raised to the third power, three-letter words. Ah. And it goes on and on and on and on. Look, that could be millions of words. Possible. About 200,000 to 400,000 of them make sense. Again, we don't use 200,000 to 400,000 words. We generally use 2 to 4,000. These are ones that, again, come up often enough that they're part of a test to get into college, or maybe the list doesn't always stay the same. The list can change. But you can see that there's a lot of options. You're not going to know every word in the English language. Yes, you have to work through words syllable by syllable sometimes to be able to pronounce it. Just as I try and work through your Ukrainian word, the name of your town, to try and pronounce it. And it's not easy because you have sounds in how you pronounce things that we don't usually use here. So, yeah, English is hard. And we'll come back to that in a few minutes about why it's difficult, why it's hard. I will eventually send this list of words to you. Just so you've got a list as to what we went through. I'm going to just bring up another list here that I will also send to you. That is a little longer. Again, we could go on forever doing this. But I wanted to make the point. Here's an example of a word, castigate, to reprimand somebody severely. And yet, words in the English language that are similar reprimand, rebuke, admonish, chastise, chide, upbraid, reprove, reproach, scold, berate, take to task, pull up, lambast, read someone in the riot act, all over the coals, lecture, criticize, censure, punish, discipline, chasten, tell off, give someone to talking to, give someone an earful, dress down, rap somebody on the knuckles, slap someone's wrist, let someone have it, ball out, give someone hell, come down on, blow up at, pitch into, lay into, lace into, blast, rag, give someone cane, put on a mat, slap down, heel haul, tick off. I mean, there's so many words or idioms that are similar to the word castigate. And yet many of them, some of them are slang, some of them are words that have just a slightly different meaning. And so you have to be choosy as to which one you use. That's the English language for you. I will send you this. Here's another one, cohort, all right, which has multiple definitions. Cobbywobbles. I put them in there because to me they're funny words, and yet they periodically get used. There's your word diphthong. I don't see anything else in this list I would have mentioned. The point is, I will send this list to you as well. This list happens to be built off of my reading, words that have come up that, yeah, I pretty much knew what they meant, but I wanted to know what the definition was to be more accurate. And so I'll pass this common vocabulary on to you. How many words in the English language? Things that make the English language difficult. Homonyms, sound alike but spelled differently. Creak, meaning to make a sound that's, or creek, like a small river. Dear, as in yes, dear, which every husband says to his wife, or dear, as in the animal deer. Okay. Heel, as in to make well, or heel, the backside of your foot. Horse, obviously an animal that you ride, or horse, meaning my throat is hoarse and I can't speak very well. All right. Or they all sound alike, right? Or. Rain or rain. Rain, weather. Rain, meaning a king that has reigned for so long. There. Where do you use one of those words? They all sound the same, and yet they all have a different purpose. Waste versus waste. Waste meaning different, distance around the middle. Waste meaning something you throw away. And weather, all right, which we're expecting here today, some snowy weather versus weather. Do I do this or don't I do this? All words that sound alike, making it difficult to learn English. Words that spelled alike but have different meaning. Degree, something you might earn when you graduate from college or from university. Degree, the temperature. What's the degree today? Tear, I've got tears in my eyes. Or tear, I'm ripping this paper apart. Right? Spelled exactly the same, but pronounced slightly differently depending on where it's used. Right, this is my right hand. To you, it looks like it's my left hand, but that's my right hand. Okay? Or right, I am correct. I am the one that is right. All right? Will, or let's see, will or will? Oh, will meaning future tense. I will do this tomorrow. Or will, a document that I make up to tell people what I want them to do after I'm dead and buried. All right? Don't get too quick on that. Wind or wind. Wind being weather, wind outside. Wind, taking something and winding it up, winding a wire, winding string. Okay. Words that are spelled alike, but the context determines what they're worth, right? Words that mean nearly the same. river, stream, burn, creek, brook, lick, all forms of running water. Generally from something that's bigger, like a river, to something that's small, like a lick, but very similar to each other. There are funny things that can happen called paraprostokians, in which the later part of the sentence is surprising or unexpected, frequently humorous. I want you to again to do some reading for me. And Dora, I want to start with you. Can you read that first statement?
I can. It's where there is a wheel, I want to be in it.
Okay. Do you understand that sentence?
Yeah,
Okay.
I understand.
All right. Do you think you're in your parents' will?
Um, it's difficult.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. All right. Um, let's go to Maxime. Can you read the second one?
Okay. The second is the last things I want to do is hurt you, but it's still on my list.
All right. Do you get the humor to that, Maxime?
No.
No, you don't get the humor to that. Well, that's interesting. All right. It just means that you're still in jeopardy. You're still likely to be hurt if you don't behave. Does that make sense?
Maybe to translate it into Ukrainian. So, останнє, що я хочу з тобою зробити, це тобі нашкодити, але це все одно в моєму списку.
Та ні.
Останній пункт. Ну, такий собі.
Does it make sense now?
This makes sense, but not about me.
All right. All right. Alexandre, can you read the third one?
Since light travels faster than sound, some people appear bright until you hear them speak.
So you
Okay.
do capture the humor in that, correct?
Yeah, a little bit. So it's a joke about that when someone don't speak to you, you cannot send their intelligence. So apparently,
Yep.
like
All right.
they're kind of brighter. So it's
Yep.
like,
These are all called, they're all called paraprostokians, intentionally written to have a little bit of humor to them based on what follows the first statement or first part. Vladislava, can you do number 4?
If I agreed with you, we'd both be wrong. It's like, yeah, it makes sense.
It makes sense, but it is meant to be funny, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So just let's do more. Let's keep it up because I want you guys to read in English and see how it goes. Do we have anybody that we have not talked to?
Alexander Kukla, he appeared again. So, in your list.
Is he here?
Yeah, but
Is
maybe you should...
Mikola there?
Yeah, I'm
Alexander.
here. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
here. Yeah, sorry, some
Oh,
troubles with my
okay.
connection. The connector again.
Can you read number 5?
Yeah, sure. We never really grow up. We only learn how to act in public.
Mm-hmm. Do you get the humor in that?
For me, it's so-so.
So, well, I think it actually is one that's so-so. Okay. Dora, let's go back to you. Number 6.
War doesn't determine who is right, only who is left.
Okay. War does not determine who is right, only who is left. All right. Number 7. Let's go to, I'm trying to see, Dora, Alexandra, Alexandre. All right, can you do 7?
7. Close is knowing a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is not putting it in a fruit salad. So it's like basically, biologically speaking, tomato is a fruit, but no use this in a salad. It's only the fruit consists.
Yeah, that one's a little bit further, I think, to understand. I think you get the idea here, though. This is a list
There
of,
is tomato jam, very tasty tomato jam.
yeah, I've had
Inside.
some tomato jam lately.
And someone told ketchup is a whiskey, and we still live with this. So it's like biology doesn't have an explanation what is a vegetable. So it's like our own how we explain what is this. So it's like
So is a tomato a vegetable or not?
biologically speaking, not. But for dishes, how to explain what is this? Yeah, but based on the taste. So it's like
Yeah, yeah. We can go on with that argument forever. Okay. So yeah, these are just things that are meant to be a little bit humorous, but also to make a point about certain things.
as I know, in America, you have some like laws about food, like what is a hot dog, what is a sandwich, what is a hamburger, because some of the food places they have an agreement about who steals their customers. So it's like some very interesting law, like you cannot bring your pet tiger to a cinema. So it's like
Yeah, yeah, there are rules relative to those things, and whether you're right, what is actually defined that suits those rules becomes the question and always challenged to some extent. Okay. So, yeah, language, being able to speak that language. Who is this guy?
Winston Churchill.
It is Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
Why do you know him?
Because he's like prime grand prime minister, how it's called, like it's a politician in Great Britain in the Second World War.
He was in the Second World War. What did he do? What was he?
Prime
He's
minister.
prime minister.
He was Prime Minister of England during the Second World War.
And he is very popular about his famous saying. He, I don't really know why he sounds like this, but he feels like some not disease. Don't really know, but he sounds like a one word.
Say that again. So, because I'm trying to capture the meaning of what you've said. I know what you go ahead, say it again.
So it's like Churchill is famous about his speeches.
Yes, all right. He's in part
But
famous about it. Yeah, he's in part famous
it's
about it.
very really hard to recognize what he's saying. You just like get one word of his whole speech.
Yes, because he speaks in this way, in paraprostokians. He intentionally does some of that. And sometimes you have to listen closely to capture what he actually means in the process. But yes, he used to come on the radio during World War II and give a speech at on each Sunday night. He was in London at the time London was being bombed. He was in an underground shelter through which he ran his government entirely. You can actually go see that shelter today if you happen to be in London. But he became very famous because of his actions and the way that he worked closely with President Roosevelt at the time in the United States and essentially made the link to bring the United States into the Second World War and save England from being decimated by the Germans. Okay. The other thing that saved England is the fact that they're an island apart and separate, and the North Sea is what kept the Germans out of England for the most part. He's famous for World War II, but he's also notorious for some things that he did prior to World War II. So like any great man, he has a positive side and he has a negative side, but the positive side outweighed that negative side. And that's the way that he finished his career. But he was famous for these yeah, I can't even pronounce it if I don't read it. Okay. He was famous for the way in which he spoke. Dora, let me go back. Let me stop sharing. Let me get you guys up on the screen. Dora, what would you be doing today if you weren't here right now?
Can you repeat the question?
Can you what do you think you'd be up to?
Може хтось перекласти, будь ласка, бо я щось погано чую.
Що б ти робила,
Я розумію.
якби сьогодні ти не була на цій зустрічі? Чим би ти займалась?
О! Maybe I watch series, drink a cup of tea, eat my chocolate, and that's all.
Okay. The month of January. Think back to that month. How do you spend your time in the month of January? Is there anything special? Is there anything special about that month?
January. Same, just every day for me, similar.
Would you normally be in school this time of year if it weren't for the war? Are you in school? Or
I'm not in school. I study at university, and I in January. Just I work every day, I study every day, and I
do you spend time with friends?
not just I work and study.
Okay.
I speak with my friends here with maybe Max or Sanya.
Okay. All right. Good enough. Okay. I'm just trying to get you to speak English and describe some things that are relevant to your life. All right. And you did that enough. Let's go to Vladislav. Can you tell me what you would be doing today if you weren't here?
Maybe reading or sleep.
Reading or sleep. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the month of February. What things do you do in February? Are you in school? Are you doing something special? Are you out with friends? Can you tell me?
Right now I'm at university on distension lessons, and my friends are on Ukraine. Someone in Kiev, someone in Poltava, so we only chatting or having FaceTime sometimes. So February is boring to me this year.
Anything special about the month of February?
No.
No. Okay. on the cold side, correct? Rather cold?
Yeah, very cold.
Very cold. Okay. Do you like cold or not like cold?
No,
Don't like
not
cold.
cold, please. No,
All right. Good
I
enough.
like sunny very much.
You like sun very much.
Spring, summer. Yeah.
Yep, got you. All right, let's go to Sophia. Tell me a little bit about what you'd be doing if you weren't here today.
Probably reading, but we also have today a national selection to Eurovision. Our artist will perform today on national television, and we will pick who is going to Eurovision in this year. So I'm really looking forward to see it today. I like this time of the time of the winter when we select some artist who will represent us in Eurovision.
Okay, that's pretty cool. What about the month of March? Anything special in the month of March?
March. So my mom has have a birthday in March, and probably I will be go to Now I'm live in Kiev. I live in Kiev, so I will go to back to Kropivnitsky to see my mom probably
And how will you get back there? By train?
by train. Yeah.
By train. Okay. All right. Maxime, what would you be doing if you weren't here today?
Maybe I will learn a new instrument for me. It's Power B, and
Say that again. I'm sorry.
maybe I will learn new instrument, a programming, how to use a new program for me like Power B and Microsoft SQL Server, because before our meeting I migrate my database from macOS to Windows, because Power B is available only for Windows.
Got you. Okay. All right. Pretty cool. The month of April. Anything special about that for you, Maxime?
Sorry, special for me about what?
The month of April. Is there
Uh,
anything special about that month for you?
Oh yes, it's special for me because I have birthday in April, 15th April. So this is special. Uh, and in this month I have allergy on flower.
You have allergies?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, swell. And do
Yeah,
those
and
allergies, are those allergies, do they persist throughout the spring and summer?
yes, I can't um, feel a smell of flowers. Maybe different grass or another these flowers or plants. Uh,
So
so
they all bother you.
yes, but if I take a pill from allergy, this all will be okay.
Yeah, okay. All right. Good enough. I want to go to Oksandra Staranchuk. Tell me, what would you be doing today if you weren't here?
It depends, like what I want to do. It's go and be more like Maxim. I will learning some stuff for some technology, doing something or so. Or there's like I can watch some Harry Potter. I never saw this series, never in my life. I just like go past it. Or I can, like in some games, there's a strategy called Civ 6, Civilization 6. And now I'm just got a little bit into this game, so it got so much data on this. It's like how the patch of the Wikipedia, it's only about Civ 6. It's like very hard. Maybe I just can go and learn some stuff
Do
very long.
you do you do you play games online very often?
Online, not very often.
Not very often.
In the past, much often in the past. But now
Okay.
it's like passed away. So.
We have asked people what they do in the month of January, February, March, and April. Do you know what the next month is?
May?
May. What would you be doing in May?
May, it's like end of studying, preparing for my exams, finishing my paperwork for a year. Or maybe like already we're going to meet some friends because the spring is already warm. We can go to some rivers, lakes, so on.
When you
Just
when
go
you go
out, just go
when
with
you
friends.
go to rivers or lakes, do you swim in the rivers or lakes?
I would like to swim, but it depends on how clean the river or the lake. So,
Yes.
but I like to swim. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. Alexandra Kukla, what would you be doing if you weren't here today?
I think, yeah, as guys mentioned before, it will be some half of rest and maybe a mix of additional learning. I try to investigate or read new articles about new technologies because it's yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, if take time, for example, of May or to be in June, it's a great time because it's a beginning of the summer and end of the spring, and yeah, it's warm, it's great weather outside, and it's a great time to spend a lot of time not at flat but outdoor, yeah, and it's additional ability to come back to the running on the stadium because for now it's really cold to running, that's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think something like that.
Okay. All right. Sophia, we've gone all the way up to June. Can you name the remaining months of the year?
July, August, September, October, November, December.
Okay. Good enough. Okay. Like you, and I'm going to talk about before I retired, I would be doing my job, school, or studying certainly this time of year, January, February, March, April, May. June, school will end here or would end here. I would continue to work till July 4th, which is our celebration day for independence. And then I would generally, in the summertime, travel somewhere within the United States and perhaps do some studying, as you say, prepping for the next year. I would spend time with family and children, take care of chores at home. Um, I have a yard that's big enough that I need to mow the lawn once a week, so I do yard work that way. And I do, again, pay attention, more attention recently to politics and to reading. Yes, I also watch TV from time to time just to kind of get away from work and relax a little bit. So much like you, my life is similar, but different in the way that um, we get around. Where I live, I can't get by without a car. Right? There's too much distance to cover to get from one place to the other. So yes, we travel more. We depend on a vehicle to do that sort of travel. We spend more time paying attention to sports this time of year. In fact, tomorrow is what we call the Super Bowl, where my team, the Philadelphia Eagles, are playing against Kansas City Chiefs. And that Super Bowl becomes very important in this country as a sporting event, maybe overly important and overly hyped. But yes, I'll be watching that tomorrow. So we pay attention to sports from season to season and get involved with them, which is kind of a release from being more serious, having to deal with more serious issues like politics. So that's what my life would be. Um, Similar to yours, but again, I'm a country folk. I'm out in the countryside for the most part, not in a city, um, but have multiple cities that I can travel to easily, particularly Philadelphia and New York City being the closest. So I'll spend my time that way. the whole intent there was to get you to speak in English, to make sure that I could understand what you had to say, and to just get a feel for what your life is like. All right. Some of you are in the technical side of the world, and I used to be there, but when I stopped doing, you'll find when you stop doing the technical side of the world, that it only takes a few years before you're obsolete. There's certain things that you may end up doing that allow you to just exist, and that's necessary in today's world. But all the studying that you did will go by the wayside after just a few years. At least that's my experience. But the mathematics that I do hasn't gone by the wayside. That seems to stick and seems to be something that I can do on a regular basis or frequently enough, at least up until the recent political situation. So yeah, we've got similar lives, but yours is more of a city life, mine's more of a country life. I want to take a 10-minute break here, just 10 minutes. It's now 10:25. So let's all come back online at 10:35. All right, take a break.